What's going on, good people? Welcome back to Unheard-of podcast. We apologize, it's been a while, but life happens. There's been a lot going on over the past year. But we are back and ready to be consistent for y'all. Again, if you forgot, I'm Evan Brooks, and now I'm with my co-host Nick and our new co-host Aaron. These are my cousins. It's a family affair. Fellas, would you like to give the good people some background on who you are?
Yeah, so my name's Nick. My background is in real estate, and I work in commercial real estate at the moment, and I'm a CSUN graduate. So,
All right, college boy.
All right, now we're all back. My name is Aaron Brooks. I've been a law enforcement officer for 13 years now. A little bit of a background in real estate, a little bit different than what my brother's doing here. Few purchases, couple ventures here and there. Currently doing one now. Maybe you guys want to check out my Instagram. We'll put all our Instagrams out there at the end here. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Sound more excited about what you do, bro. But seriously though, no, these are two very bright-minded men, which is why I wanted to do this with them. We're just bringing y'all good conversation, to be honest with you. In case you don't know what I do, I'm a writer in different venues.
A great one at that. Check them out.
Appreciate that, cousin.
Yep.
I'm looking to do sports, but I'm just an opinionated dude, and I like to write. So, but more than that, I like to talk. So here we are. But yeah. We wanted to get things started. It is February, and that's what is well known as Black History Month. I've got my own opinions on us having a month, but we'll get into that. But what we want to do is we want to talk about the state of Black America, as well as Black excellence, what that is today, or what people view that as, and what we think that should look like. So. Without further ado, fellas, let's get into it. Aaron, I know you had some things on your mind that you wanted to talk about as far as where we're at right now as a people, and kind of how we need to be a little better.
I agree. Actually, I do kind of want to let Nick jump off in this one. We were having a lot of conversations about this, and I think where we're at, I'm gonna let him talk about that first, because he had a lot of before we started the show, before we came on, he had a lot of insightful things to say, and then I'll kind of jump on a lot of the things he was saying.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different avenues that we can go on with this subject. I think right now I'm concerned about sort of just the community at large, what we sort of look at as a community, as a village, and that just doesn't exist anymore. I think society has ingrained us to be too individualized, and I think that there's a crisis in regards to cultivating a community that can essentially raise the next generations and create systems that benefit us long term, because at the end of the day you can't create a functioning society with only thinking about yourself. And I think with this sort of state of self-individualism, it's how are you going to translate that into a family dynamic? Definitely. Or a community? So that's my biggest concern that I think we need to sort of touch on.
And to jump off that, when you're talking about just the individualization and you look at our community as a whole, right? Objectively speaking, I would say that it seems, I'm not going to jump into the numbers because I don't even know the exact numbers, but I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, we're probably dead last in
every category,
in every community, family dynamics, especially be it marriage. We're probably still the highest in single family homes, single parent homes, and and I don't know how we can continue to push self and see those things improve. I don't even think it's possible, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it goes back to the upbringing and the parenting, right? So, in order to create functioning families, you have to create functioning offspring.
Definitely.
So, when you're raising a bunch of men in single parent households that are mostly single mother households, they're not being taught how to be leaders. They're not being taught how to provide for a family, to take care of a family. And then vice versa, you have a culture of women who have been raised to only think about themselves, to not trust men, to not be about family, to not be a soft sort of nurturing spirit, which is what a woman traditionally is for a community. That's gone.
Exactly. I agree.
So you can't have it. It's such a messed up dichotomy because you have a bunch of men that women don't want, and then you got a bunch of women who they're not looking at men as a necessity. Yeah, I think when you have a culture who has been raised to not depend or need one another, this is what you're gonna get. Definitely. You're gonna get the lowest marriage rates. You're gonna get highest single parent households, right? So I think the second we start to actually view each other as a necessity, that's just the start, right? I mean, we can't even get to the start without even mutually agreeing that we need one another.
This is facts. I actually, I was listening to my pastor. I was listening to church on like Facebook Live, and this was literally this morning, and he was talking about how you don't always. He felt like something that has been plaguing just relationships in general is just how people feel like they need to have all kinds of common interests, and that's going to make up their a successful relationship. And it's like, no, you have to be willing to agree on things. Like, you have to come to agreements. And so this can be things that we're uncomfortable with, but we understand if we work together to reach this common goal, then that's ultimately going to make our lives better. And like, yeah, everybody technically in this day and age can be okay by themselves, but they don't understand that like two is always going to be better than one.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you don't just want to put yourself in the worst position ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're unhappy and things like that. But the question is, why are we unhappy? And are we able to make a choice to be happier in certain circumstances?
Can I touch on something that I know, and we all know this is not necessarily a trigger word for us, because we understand the dynamics, but I'm going to touch on a trigger word that is definitely triggering to the black community as a whole. And that word is conservatism. Okay? So the reason why
Aaron came out as Republican about this.
Yeah. So it was only, this was bound to happen.
Look.
This was bound to happen. He's family though, so we don't hear him out.
Don't believe the hype. I do not identify, let me clarify for everybody. I do not identify with a political party, okay? I think both political parties, we're going to keep this clean, but I think both political parties are full of shit. Both of them, okay? Both of them. All right, so let's stop there. But the one thing that I will say is that, you know, when I think about, you know, we're talking about community, and when I think about just the black household, right? The black households that worked. And the last time we had black homes where we had the most, you know, two-parent households, raising kids and everything else, were the 1970s. Now, there's a lot of things that played into the black household breaking up, right? Some of that in our control, some of that beyond our control, right? I mean, everybody knows about the crack epidemic, and you know, and
Jim
certain
Crow, segregation.
Well, no. This is just
That's
after.
before
This
that.
is just
Yeah,
after Jim Crow and segregation. But the reason why I want to touch on conservatism is because I think, you know, our community especially has gotten so liberated, you put air quotes around that, in the way that we think, right? So, you know, to touch on what both of y'all were saying, the idea that we don't need this or we don't need that. We are a homogenous species.
Yeah.
We are supposed to be together, not just from a relationship or marital standpoint, just from a people standpoint.
Yeah.
We do better in life when we can work together.
Life is about relationships.
Exactly. Be it romantic, non-romantic, friends, family is the biggest one. You know, I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I feel like everybody kind of kills us from a family standpoint, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think that we as a people, first of all, could learn a whole lot from the Latino American community.
Yeah.
The way they stick together, I mean, to be honest, some of the things that they do as far as sticking together, I don't even know if I can handle that. But I admire it.
Yeah.
I 100% admire it. But, you know, I look at them and I'm like, you know, be it whatever neighborhood you're in, and they will all stay in the same place together and get along and make it work in order to save money, in order to get their lives together, in order to send money back to other countries to take care of their family, or to get their own lives started here, right? But meanwhile, as black people, we're taught, oh, you got to get out on your own, and we in LA making, you know, $2,500 a month, paying $1,800 for a one-bedroom apartment because we can't get along with one another.
Well, here's the common denominator with the past and your comparison to like maybe the Latino community or other communities that seem to stick together more. Struggle. Like let's ask a real question.
Yeah.
In 2022, I'm not saying that there aren't things that can be better, but what struggles do we really have at this point? Like, and I'm not talking about like, oh, I just wish I had a better job. I mean like having a home, having running water, having a having like a
third world issues.
Yeah, like real issues. Like we're not. This is not the 1930s where black folks was getting. You know, as much as people want to create the narrative that black people are just getting killed in the street like that, it's just those are incidents. It's
we don't have that, but I mean, I will
also
say
killing each other more.
No,
in the
I
streets
know.
than the other narrative.
But I will say,
there.
look, black folks. I'm not gonna completely dismiss the idea that we have struggles, bro. We have struggles. You can go to my job and see, like, bro. I'm like, ain't many black people in there.
But my point is, there's levels to struggle.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
And my issue that
the question is why.
No, I feel you. But what I'm saying is, the more society is civilized and certain like major issues are rectified. Like, I feel like we've gotten to this point where we're just coming up with shit to honestly just complain about.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Can I answer the question that you asked when you said why? When you said why is it the way it is as a people? Well, let's also think about this. We are, in general, especially now, right? Depending on what type of family structure you come in, and a lot of our community. Not saying us, we all got lucky. We know our backgrounds. But most black people don't have family members, friends, or anyone to hold them accountable. Okay? Now, the thing about it is, all of us are in certain positions and certain careers or whatever it is, making a certain amount of money, taking care of this, that, or whatever. And granted, we know that as black people, be it at any job you're at, we know that our that the way we're looked at or the way we have to operate in a certain space is different than everybody else. We know these unwritten rules, and we know that those rules still exist today.
They'll always exist.
However, guess what? I got there. You got there. You got there. Right? And the thing is that And it's not to put down anybody who didn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that we know that if we focus our attention in the right areas and we keep the right circles of people around us, that it's possible. The problem is that we have too much division, not only amongst ourselves, but we also look at others, right? Specifically, let's say white folks, right? We look at them as, oh, well, that's the enemy, and we can't do what they can do, and we don't want to learn from them.
Right.
Like, that's stupid.
Right.
And the thing is I can't be like you can only have so much pity. We can only have so much pity for ourselves, right? We can only sit here so long and go, oh well, you know, we don't have this and we don't have that and we don't have this and that. No. Yes, we know that there's struggle, but at the same time, like, at what point do we say, okay, I'm going to stand up to this struggle and not let it hold me back?
Right.
Because it holds us back way too much.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
Now, in short form, what you're essentially saying is it's upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we're exposed to at a young age, and these cycles will continue. And so, I mean, obviously, there's always in a family, there's always one person who, quote, breaks the curse, right? But it's tough to expect it out of somebody or put that responsibility on somebody to break a curse. So when they're being raised by people who literally don't know no better, because they were raised by people who didn't know no better, who were raised by people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. It's like, at what point does the curse break?
Well, the one thing that I will say, Evan, is that, and sorry not to cut you off, but the one thing that I will say is that the thing that annoys me most about us as black folks is that we can be given information and come up with some BS excuse as to why we can't achieve something. And case in point, and I'm very, the one thing that I'll say is I want to shout out our cameraman and our videographer, who in certain aspects, you know, is a person who I met at a very young age, and one of the few people who we had common goals in life. Right. As far as like getting our stuff together. Right. So the thing is that there's been so many people who I've talked to about my job or just law enforcement in general who are black. I cannot tell you how many people over the last 12, 13 years that I have told, hey, you know, like, oh, you know, that say, oh, I'm struggling, I'm this, I'm that. Hey, man, look, I got this job. This is what I had to do to get it. Blah, blah, blah. You just got to get this together, that together, learn a little bit about this, pass a test, whatever, get in shape, whatever you got to do. And it's like, oh, well, I can't smoke weed at that job, right?
Yeah.
Nah, bro, you can't smoke weed. Oh, well, nah. See, at that point, when you've been given information, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to hear about, oh, I'm struggling, I can't this and that. No, you just don't want to do what it takes to achieve something.
Right.
You don't want to make that sacrifice. Black people do not want to sacrifice in order to get ahead in life.
Right.
We want everything instantaneous.
We're dream chasers.
Exactly.
Let me add this caveat. I think, okay, our generation, millennials, and was it zillennials, right? After Generation Z, after us. I think one thing that I will give us and them is we do have a passion to create our own, right? There is a drive to, you know, be your own boss, have your own business, not answer to nobody. That's all fine. That's great. I think that ultimately that's where everyone wants to be, right?
Exactly.
But it's we're forgetting the steps.
Yes,
it's the in between that.
Yes, we are.
So for me, like, okay, I was in residential real estate. I'm like, oh well, okay, I can kind of create my own schedule. I'm my own agent. I kill what I eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I chose that profession in real estate. But I think even me and you know, to a certain extent, my peers and us, we're forgetting that sometimes you have to pay your dues. And I think where the progression era where there's issues there is that people want to get from point A to point
Z.
Z and not follow the steps that it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think out of comfort and out of laziness, we rob ourselves of actually getting there.
Yep.
So it's like if we don't come out of college and we're our own boss immediately,
Yeah.
then I'm not gonna work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna work for somebody.
Exactly.
And it's like, dude, it's okay to learn how to be a follower before you can become a leader.
Definitely.
Right. Otherwise, you're going to have to get comfortable being broke while you're in pursuit of this dream.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Rather than having money while you're in pursuit of this dream and maybe slowing down that process. And I get it's a trade-off, but I'm not willing to trade my peace. I'm not willing to trade my financial comfort to chase something that could not happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, the biggest of the dream chasers will say, failure is not an option. And so when you make failure not be an option, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and all that. I get it. But are you willing, why are you willing to be broke while you do that?
Are we
you
just
gotta do
willing
something.
to ignore statistics?
Right.
Like-
Because the statistics, right? Because, and let's be real, we've all had a dream at one point or another that was shot down by reality. When I was 8, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to the NBA.
Yep.
However, I grew up. Now I got health issues. Game's still tight, but I can't hoop in no NBA game. Nor was I good enough. Let's be real. There are people who you might have a skill. Your skill still might not be good enough.
Exactly.
No matter what you do.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? You, like I said, health can take its toll. There's something huge to say about knowing the right people and getting the right opportunities.
Yep.
You know, my man Jadakiss said, and why? Why is a man up north better than Jordan that ain't get that break? It's the reality.
Right.
Positions mean something.
Well, and then even to that, I'm sorry, but not everybody is LeBron.
Exactly.
Not everybody is Denzel Washington.
Exactly.
Not everybody is. Like, at the end of the day, like, there is, and I think we were going to also talk about this too, like, there is nothing wrong with becoming an engineer. There's nothing wrong with becoming a firefighter. There's nothing wrong with becoming a plumber. There's nothing wrong with becoming an electrician. Like, at what point, the thing is, and that's another thing to touch on too when we're talking about family is, if you're going to struggle chasing a dream until you're 40, 45 years old, who's going to create the next generation of people? Because you can't have a family, you can't have kids while you're chasing a dream and struggling.
Exactly.
So who's going to get out there and work that 9 to 5 and buy a home and invest their money into their retirement or stocks or whatever it is and live a good life and enjoy, because for whatever reason, black people only enjoy chasing dreams and becoming the next actor, ball player or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We only enjoy chasing dreams. Whatever happened to just enjoying community, enjoying family, enjoying your spouse, enjoying your kids, and not getting sucked into this glamorous lifestyle that we see in this thing that I'm starting to detest called social media.
And it's funny because you'll hear a lot of people try to justify that thought process by the anomalies of the world who are having babies at age 45.
Exactly.
Their first
Janet
child.
had a baby at 50.
Right.
You ain't Janet, girl.
Right. You're not. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Like at the end of the day, how many kids you want? Oh, you want 2, you want 3,
Yeah.
and you want to have your first one at 45?
Exactly.
How that? Like, come on, man.
But
Like,
yeah, but that goes back to the upbringing. Women have been counseled to, just your 20s, figure yourself out,
Yeah.
get to know yourself.
right.
But it's all self-driven.
Yeah.
And then
It is.
by the
It
time
is.
you're 30, you'll be able to.
Yeah.
Do y'all not know that middle age 30 is when your pregnancy
Right.
chances go
Yeah.
Right.
drastically
What is it,
down?
10%
Right.
a year?
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2.